Hi, my name is David Cook. I serve at DBU as the Dean of Global Studies and Pre-Professional Programs. Welcome to all of our global partners and community partners from around the world. Thank you for what you're doing for God's kingdom, and we're excited to partner with you. Here at DBU, I get to do quite a few things, and two of the areas that I love are helping students to be able to understand God's kingdom and be able to study abroad by seeing what He is doing across the world. And likewise, I get to help a lot of our pre-professional students, people who may go into the law or health fields like medicine, dental, physical therapy, and be able to help prepare them for God's calling and equip them with the knowledge and the skills and the type of Christian worldview that they'll need to be able to serve their communities well. So if you've got students like that, we would love to have your students in the future in those types of areas. Today I was asked to share with you a little bit of a leadership lesson, and so I wanted to share with you about the idea of adaptive leadership. This is certainly something that has been a watchword over the last year. As COVID-19 hit, we were all required to change the ballgame a little bit, to change the way that we've done things, but still our mission remained the same. Those types of problems that have come are what are called adaptive problems in the leadership literature. Ronald Heifetz is someone who's written a lot about this, and he talks about how adaptive problems are chaotic. They may feel very new, and there's no ready-made answer. He gives the analogy in one of his books about an ER doctor who has two patients who come in one night. One has broken their arm, and it's very clear how to deal with that situation. You put on a cast, you go through certain things that are always done in those situations. And yet the other patient comes in with abdominal pain, and it's not clear exactly what to do. You may need to call in other doctors. You may need to run certain tests. And so these adaptive problems are one where you have to really adapt to the context of the situation, try to figure out what's going on, and then create a new solution that is creative, that meets the needs of your followers and of the situation. So how can you be an adaptive leader? Well, there are several basic lessons that I wanted to share with you today. One is the idea of realistic optimism. It's having a mindset where you're able to look realistically at the situation and say, we can't do certain things now, but we still can meet our core mission. An analogy that I think is helpful comes from Stanley Joseph in his book, What Doesn't Kill Us. He gives the analogy of a vase and how many times trauma or crisis situations can shake the pedestal that the vase is on, and the vase crashes over. It goes into a million pieces, and those pieces may never be able to be put back exactly the same in a vase. No matter how much crazy glue you use, it may not ever look like that vase again. However, the truly adaptive leader is able to say, you know what? We can still use those pieces in a beautiful way. We can make a mosaic out of those pieces. And as Christians, we are able to say, Lord, these pieces are still beautiful. You created this, and how can you create a mosaic out of this situation? So those adaptive leaders have to be realistic and say, I can't be a vase, but I can still meet my mission, and I can still go about this in a way that's God-honoring. We had this happen at DBU last year, where all of a sudden, because of COVID-19, we had to switch to online learning. We had to adapt over time to say that we were going to use some flex models where some students were in person, others were online. We had to find ways outside the classrooms for professors to connect with students and still pour into their lives, because our mission remained the same, of serving the Lord and pouring into students to prepare them for God's calling. And yet we had to change the method and the mediums that we used to fulfill that mission. We had to be adaptive. And so that realistic optimism is important. It also is important that you are not afraid to fail. If your mission remains the same, then you know who you are and whose you are. And that's important for those types of leaders who are ready to then take those adaptive problems, look at them, find solutions, and realistically assess how they can take the pieces and make a beautiful mosaic for the future. So I teach a whole course in that. I could share a lot more, but I wanted to share with you those two basic things about adaptive leadership. Thank you to all of our community partners. Thank you for what you're doing across the world and how God is using you.